Tone is a very important part of the filmmaking process. It lets us know whether a film is meant to be serious, funny, or a mixture of the two. And while most of these films, by their premise alone, aren't meant to be regarded with the seriousness of, say, Schindler's List, these moments were certainly not supposed to invoke as much uproarious chuckling as they did. I'm Ben from Whatculture, and here are 10 serious movie moments that are unintentionally hilarious. Number 10. Anakin doesn't like sand. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Anyone who stood up for Hayden Christensen over the course of his tenure in the Star Wars franchise can be promptly shut up by this horrendous scene in which Anakin Skywalker laments the irksome qualities of sand to his love Padme. Everything about this scene is wrong. Christensen's delivery is painful, though the prevailing problem is that George Lucas wrote it in the first place. It's an incredibly awkward line that's clearly supposed to be about forging the romance between Anakin and Padme, though only resulted in chortles in cinemas the world over upon release. Number 9. They're eating her. Troll 2. Few people are ever going to try and argue that Troll 2 is supposed to be a serious film, but this scene, in which a woman is eaten by the titular beasties, miraculously transforming into a green, gooey substance, is meant to be more terrifying than funny. It all comes down to the risible delivery of an already fairly horrific line. To be fair, much of the problem is with the awful direction. There's not only a cheesy zoom in on the actor's face as he screams, but nobody seems to have noticed that a fly has landed on his head in between shots, and it therefore remained in the final cut. Number 8. The entire movie, The Room. It's impossible to pick just one unintentionally hilarious moment from Tommy Wiseau's brilliantly terrible movie, The Room, as it's widely touted as the Citizen Kane of bad movies. Though Wiseau has jumped on the bandwagon of ironic cult fandom the film has adopted, the wide belief is that Wiseau intended to make a serious, somber drama, yet stymied by the rickety production quality and his terrible acting, the result is something very different entirely. This is one film that truly lives up to the hilarious hype. Almost every scene is stingingly funny, owing to Wiseau's ridiculous look and woeful line delivery, spoken not unlike someone completely unfamiliar with the English language. Number 7. Infidelity discovered. Tough Guys Don't Dance. Norman Mailer's Tough Guys Don't Dance probably isn't a film you've heard of, except perhaps for this riotously funny scene, which legitimately could go down as the worst line reading ever. Ryan O'Neill's character is reading a note from his ex-girlfriend on the beach, which explains that his wife has been having an affair with her husband. O'Neill's reaction goes beyond merely priceless to becoming an act of deranged beauty. So bad is the delivery that Mailer very nearly cut this part of the scene, thinking it too over the top. Somehow, though, he then felt that it actually did add to the film, so it stayed in. Number 6. Nicolas Cage freaks out. Vampire's Kiss. Roughly 47% of the internet's traffic consists of people watching Nicolas Cage montage videos, because while the guy has starred in his fair share of duds over the years, he always does something interesting and entertaining regardless of the film's quality. The dubious horror comedy Vampire's Kiss is a perfect example, and in this rare scene that's supposed to be more terrifying than funny, Cage decides to tickle our funny bones anyway. Few actors can portray unhinged as well as Cage, proven here as he removes his glasses and glares, eyes wide open, at one of his subordinates while the camera lingers on his face, closing in and only exaggerating the instability of the character. Number 5. Too bad, you will die. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Paul W.S. Anderson's Mortal Kombat actually stands as one of the better, more faithful adaptations of a video game, but the sequel, Annihilation, is downright horrible. This crowning turd of a scene is a combination of awful writing and dreadful acting, as Kitana remarks, "Mother, you're alive," and Sindel replies, "Too bad, you will die." There's been less ham in a ham sandwich. Everything about the delivery is wrong, but what's more egregious is the misplaced emphasis, making the whole sentence just sound awkward and distinctly non-threatening. Still, it's the liveliest moment in an otherwise oddly boring film. Number 4. To Live Forever. House of the Dead. You should never expect seriousness from Uwe Boll, but this expository scene in House of the Dead was clearly supposed to be somewhat serious in terms of explaining the bad guy's motive. Sadly, it's a feat of script writing awful enough to make you assume Boll wrote it himself, but this one wasn't actually his fault since he didn't write the film. The line fails because the hero has already explained why the villain enacted his scheme, to be immortal, and so the villain's line seems utterly redundant. Had the actor playing the baddie been a little smarter about it, he could have turned his retort into a sarcastic reply that might have made the scene a little more tolerable, but alas, no. Number 3. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. The entire point of Episodes 1 to 3 was to build towards the inevitable moment when Anakin Skywalker would become Darth Vader, and in Episode 3 it really seemed to come together as Anakin realizes that his rage essentially killed Padme. So, Vader, worn from battle and now kitted out in his Vader duds, gets a really cool reveal, but it all goes wrong when he asks about Padme and finds out she's died. His response, infamously, was to scream in the most stagey, ridiculously over-the-top fashion possible. We should probably direct our blame to James Earl Jones more than anyone, but hey, Lucas could have had the line redubbed given how pivotal it is in the film. Number 2. Law! Judge Dredd. This scene between Judge Dredd and Rico is supposed to be macho and intense, but the end result is far more unnerving in an entirely wrong sort of way. Dredd shouts, "You betrayed the law!" All the more disconcerting because Stallone is looking off camera at the beginning of the shot for some reason, to which Rico replies, "Law!" It makes absolutely no sense within the context of the scene, but hey, it's still damned funny, and it does actually manage to convey exactly how unhinged Rico is supposed to be. Number 1. Wheelchair escape. Conspiracy theory. Tepid thriller Conspiracy Theory was far from a high point for controversial star Mel Gibson. In it, he wakes up to find himself drugged and tied to a wheelchair, and upon trying to escape, he is forced to wheel himself around the building, screaming manically, with a constant focus on Gibson's frantically stamping feet, draining the scene of just about all of its suspense and tension. Adding to this is Gibson's incessant wailing as various assailants chase him, and yet incredibly take so long to catch up with him. The greatest moment of all, however, comes when Gibson attempts to take a flight of stairs, is met by a bad guy, and promptly performs a flying dropkick, sending the guy careening out the window, to which an off-his-face Gibson gleefully shouts, "He's flying." And that's our list. Make sure you subscribe to the Whatculture YouTube channel for more lists like this, and don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. I'm Ben from Whatculture, and thanks for watching.